Hey, Nick.
Hey, Chase.
It's that time again.
What time is it?
Time for
Fuck This Place!
I wonder about dogs.
Right. No more disruptions.
What kind of dog is that?
It's what we call a cockapoo. Have you heard of a cockapoo?
Sounds like a cocker spaniel mixed with poo.
It sounds like something.
He's a little shit. He's a little shit, is what he is. No, he's really, really well behaved. It's cocker spaniel and poodle.
Oh, that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
so much more sense than poop.
Oh, cockapoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're very fashionable. Everyone's got a cockapoo right now.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's either way, they're either a little cock or a little shit. So but no, he's very well behaved. We got him. He was a lockdown dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of those. Like
one of those. So
maybe we should. And now you did. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
I had some of those conversations as well, but we never pulled the trigger. It was like, what if we did? I was like, yeah, what if we did? And then I kept saying that long enough.
Leave it there. What if? Like that, it worked for Marvel. What if? Let's just leave it there.
It was kind of like a conversation with a toddler where you just keep saying why, like, what if we had a dog? What if we had two cars? Wouldn't that be neat? Well, wouldn't it? What if I had
What if we went to the moon? Wouldn't
yeah. Yeah. What if we went to the moon? What if there was a dog there? Anyway. Let's get back to paying our bills. Well, we should introduce the podcast. Welcome to Fuck This Place, the podcast about jobs with Chase and Nick. My name is Chase.
My name is Nick, and with us today, another fantastic guest. He is an actor and a writer, but I know him also as a stand-up and a singer is where I met him. He's visiting us all the way from the London area. With us today, Mr. Kieran Mellish. Kieran, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Very well, thank you.
Good. I'm glad. Thank you so much for accommodating the time change with us and being here with us.
Yeah, no problem. I will warn you. It is 9 p.m. in the UK, which means that every English person is pissed by this point. So,
really?
And by piss, and in America, piss means angry. But in the UK, that means drunk. But that also obviously means angry. So I'm very
it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
So you're pissed right now.
Do you know what? I was a little bit earlier, and then I had a little lay down, and I thought, no, I've got to be ready for this podcast. So now I'm at that really nice.
Yeah, riding
I'm
away
on that cusp.
You got some momentum here, but not too much.
I'm one beer from just pissing everywhere. So
right, and that's the third phase.
Yes.
Is drunk, angry, and urination. And the Americans just went straight to urination. Yes. I do remember when I discovered the difference between a pint and a royal pint, which is more in America. Pints are 16 ounces, whereas in the UK they're like 20. I think it's we do it. We do it in milliliters. Oh, sorry. I'll Google it. I'll figure it out.
So an American pint is 500 milliliters,
okay.
And a UK pint is 568. And let me tell you, that 68.
Oh boy,
sure,
fucking, especially when you have like four of them.
Yeah, and I remember when I moved to the US and I ordered a Stella, and Stella come in those lovely chalices. We call them the chalice.
Yeah, it's a bit of a goblet situation. Yeah.
It is, and when you get that, and it's ever so slightly, it's because it's only 68 milliliters, so it's only slightly smaller. But I remember ordering my first Stella in the US and going, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah. So, Kieran, the first thing we do on every podcast, we actually do a segment. And the segment is called "Fuck This Place?" ? Where we decide if we would work somewhere or not, and we look at job listings.
Okay.
I don't know how familiar the UK is with the website Craigslist. If I say it, does it ring any bells for you?
It does, but guess what? We don't say Craig, we say Craig.
Craigslist.
It's Craigslist.
Damn it.
Craigslist. But it's
Son
not
of
as big
a
as
bitch.
It's not as big as we have one called Gumtree, and it's the same site,
Gumtree.
but that's bigger here. But Craigslist, listen, I spent 3 years in America. And I had to make some money somehow, so
so you've been around the block,
and I've got lovely feet. So Craigslist, I'm very familiar with.
Yeah, well, in the U.S., Gumtree is called Gumptree, I believe.
Well, there we go.
So named after Tom Hanks' famous character,
of course,
Forrest Gump. So we pulled up some like UK, London-esque Craigslist. It's a wide berth. But so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read the title to three.
Yes.
based in the UK. And you're going to pick the one that's like, definitely, I don't want to look at that one. That's an automatic fuck this place. And then we'll look at the two and decide whether we work there or not. Like a fuck this place, yes or no. Okay,
Love
so title number 1 is Paranormal Investigator. Title number 2, Odd Job Man, Any Work. Title number 3 is Hypnotist Wanted. So we're flirting with the supernatural as a theme here. So which one is like an obvious no for you? Paranormal Investigator, Odd Job Man, or the Hypnotist situation?
I mean, instinct tells me paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a ghost, or at least I don't think I have. But
same.
But I'd be interested. So I would. Do you know what I would say?
What would you say?
I would say the Odd Job Man one.
Yeah, fuck him. He's boring.
Fuck that, because that's probably going to be quite boring. That's going to be moving some shit. That's going to be picking something up, dropping it off. I want to see some ghosts.
Same.
And what was the other one? The other one was
Hypnotist. Yeah.
And I want to do some hypnotism.
I want to do some stuff.
I will say, Kieran, I will say that your enthusiasm is like what I feel like I would feel if I was pissed at this moment right now. Yeah, I want some fucking ghosts.
See some
let's see some fucking ghosts. And then, because we always get in a fight here, you want some? We'd be like that. So
okay, well, we'll save the ghosts for last, and we'll jump straight into this hypnotist situation, if you will. This is
Sunbury-on-Thames. Sunbury-on-Thames. Okay.
Sunbury-on-Thames. What can we say about Sunbury-on-Thames?
Sunbury-on-Thames. So on Thames means it's going to be on the River Thames.
Yes,
so this is probably in Surrey. Because you don't tend to say it in London. If it's in London, it's going to be on the Thames because you're in fucking London. But when you're in Sunbury, so part of the Thames comes to where I live in Kent. So I'm from Kent, which is the a county.
Yes.
And so Sunbury-on-Thames. I reckon. Can you give me a little zoom out on that?
Here's the crazy thing is I did a screenshot because we selected these jobs. But when we tried to do this the first time and we were like, these jobs are too good. We have to hold on to them. And so I screenshot. I can't zoom out.
Sorry.
This is it. What we got is what
my apologies for being, throwing my guts up after some terrible prawns. And again, we, that's shrimp. We call them prawns here. So that's probably going to be Surrey. Yeah, that's going to be Surrey. So Hypnotist Wanted, Sunbury-on-Thames.
Real Surrey vibes, that's for sure. So the text to the ad is very short. There's no images or anything, and it says, "Looking for a hypnotist to hypnotize me to stop eating certain days of the week. Only qualified hypnotists, please. This is important to me."
Right.
And the compensation is listed as $100. So, or 100 pounds. So, excuse me, 100 pounds.
Right. I would say that they're saying only qualified hypnotists, please. I've been to a hypnotist. I went to a hypnotist.
I went to one hypnotist as well.
Yeah.
Please carry on.
A qualified hypnotist, I'm thinking, is probably asking for more than 100. And how long's the session? Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
So I'm thinking this person is looking for a bit of a cheap deal on a hypnotist.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah.
What days? What days do you want to not eat?
Feels like more of a war on a day of a week than it is. Like, it's just like, what's your problem with Wednesdays, guy?
Thirsty Thursday's not working out for you.
Why just certain days of the week? Do you know what? Join Weight Watchers. Are you certain days to stop eating?
I think that certain people do this, and I did say do, and I do know that. Just important to say, I think, on this podcast. I think certain people do this when they have like a diet like program, like some people do like a cheat day, or they like, oh, I'm low carb Monday through Friday, but weekends are like whatever I want.
Intermittent fasting is a big
correct.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a thing people do. So we're just naming things. But I am a little like, I just don't understand. It seems to me like if you are looking for a qualified hypnotist, number one, you're in the wrong spot. But more importantly, I think the qualified hypnotist would actually be able to tell you better how to, like, if I'm guessing this person's trying to lose weight, you know what I mean? Like if they're just like, I want to stop eating a whole day, it seems like the wrong way to do it.
Do you know what I'm trying to think? I'm trying to think whether I posted this when I was very drunk. Posted about a month ago. Where was I a month ago?
I need some help here. And I want to find a qualified hypnotist.
I just think that's bizarre, because the thing is that if you say, right, if someone asked you, oh, so what, you've lost a bit of weight, what are you doing? You say, well, here's the thing. Monday to Thursday, I eat nothing.
Yeah, that's a bad thing to do.
That's not healthy. That's not, you know.
You're not going to survive, I don't think.
But then you're going to pig out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You're eating everything. So I don't think this is a good way to lose weight. Obviously,
yeah. Even if I was a qualified hypnotist, I would think you're not a very good client option.
Yeah, but
I'm sure there's hypnotists that do this.
I want to know the days. Because surely not. I mean, listen, in the UK, it's very traditional to eat fish and chips on a Friday.
Oh, it's Friday specifically.
Oh,
Friday.
Dude, that
it's
sounds
the last
amazing.
day. Yeah. Oh,
I love fish and chips.
It's insane. Have you ever seen Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix?
No,
I've seen episodes, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah. So it's Phil Rosenthal who wrote Everybody Loves Raymond. And so I guess he's got so much fucking money now that he just goes around.
That's what happens with there's that new Paul Hollywood show where he just drives cars.
Yeah.
You love this guy. You love this guy talking shit about bread. Well, guess what? Watch him drive a Ferrari and jack off to it. Maybe it's very strange. Yeah. Carry on.
So he goes to London and he goes to, it's a very famous food review, and so they go for this fish and chips. But yeah, fish and chips on a Friday, because that is the last day you will get fresh fish, because there's no fresh fish deliveries on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh,
so it's a little so you know that Saturday, if you get fish and chips on a Saturday, the fish is going to be a day old. Not too bad.
Yeah.
But get on
don't
a Sunday.
Fucking do it on Sunday.
Don't do it on Sunday. Do not do it on Sunday.
You want. You're on a goddamn island, so you want the freshest fish you can get.
Yeah. So we think that this guy is got to stop eating fish and chips on Sunday. Is that what we're saying? We think that's the he keeps getting.
He loves rotten fish, and he can't help himself.
Right.
Yeah.
I like to think that this guy also thinks that you can just be hypnotized into other qualities. You know, I
want to be nicer.
Hypnotize me into knowing karate. You know?
Hypnotize me into reconnecting with my son. I don't think this person understands hypnotism at all. Because my understanding, again, I saw one hypnotherapist and it's really more sort of like a highly structured meditation than it is. It's like you're not hypnotized for hours. You're just breathing hard and thinking about your inner child or whatever. It's not
I know that I'm definitely not what's the word? Is it susceptible? Am I saying that wrong?
Susceptible, I think. Yeah.
Susceptible. I know, because you have to be able to be hypnotized.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that there used to be when I was at university, one of the first sort of nights of when you go to university in the UK, your first week or your first 2 weeks, what they call Freshers Week.
Yes. It's like they give you entertainment and stuff.
Oh, it's an organized absolute carnival of drink and it is, and so that's what and so one of the nights, because
your drinking age is 18 in the UK.
Exactly. So when you head to that's what I found so strange about living in the US was that I very much so for you guys, if your drinking age is 21, you'll start drinking about sort of 18.
Yeah. I think that's
and
a
it's
fair
all
number.
secret, and you go to a party and the cops get called. I remember that sort of in movies, the cops are here, and I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, they're 18. Why are the cops being called? But here, the very much the tradition is if the legal age is 18, that means you start drinking about 15.
Yeah.
And you just hang around with friends in a park with a bottle of vodka, and you just hang about all night. So, but I remember going off tangent. So I remember
you're experts at this point. Is what you're saying.
Exactly. And there was they had an X-rated hypnotist.
Oh.
And what was so funny was it was a comedy hypnotist, and it was really funny. It was really great. But again, I wasn't susceptible to it. But one of the best things he did was the last guy had on stage. He has this group of people, and he gets them to do. I mean, there was one girl. I mean, the things she was doing on stage, completely not creepy at all or anything like that. She kept her clothes on, and it was all done in good taste. But there was a guy, and the guy, how he hypnotized him was he said, every time someone shakes your hand, you're going to feel like you're having an orgasm, right? And so. So he snapped him out of it, and the guy's like, whoa, what happened? He went, oh, thank you so much for coming up, man. Shook his hand, and this guy's legs just go to jelly, right? On stage in front of everyone. And then, of course, as he's leaving, as he's coming down off the stage and the show is over, everyone is shaking his hand, going, hey, that was really funny up there, man. And I shook his hand, and I tell you what, I've never felt a handshake go from so so
strong to limp,
strong,
basically. Yeah,
so limp.
Uh-huh.
And I made that guy come like 3 times. So
yeah,
it was,
it was like his best friend was there. They were doing their secret handshake and stuff. He was coming for like 8 minutes straight.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm in the club again. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, and I do agree that like there's for sure power to it. So I think you're also messing with some dark magic here, pal.
I think so. I don't understand.
Excuse me, Craigslist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Craigslist.
Yeah, I think it is funny though to think of like trying to mess with dark power and using it to just make a guy jizz on stage.
Yeah. Now, but that's what did he was he really, or did he just feel like he was? Yeah, and that's what I want to know, and that's why I need to track this guy down.
Yeah, that's crazy that you had like an X-rated like show, because like I also went to college and I was in theater and stuff, and so we did like a pre-show for like kids coming into college or whatever, and there was zero alcohol anywhere during the orientation. We had a show where we just like showed them how to put on condoms and not smoke weed and stuff. And that was it. And we got in a little bit of trouble for showing them how to put on condoms.
Well, that's so controversial there, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we are also in the South. So,
well, in the
everything
South,
is controversial.
Yeah. I mean, we start sex education here in the UK when you're about 10 years old.
Yeah.
You start
it happens. It happens. They're just like, please don't. And when we're done talking about it, don't talk to me about it either.
Yeah. And you know what?
We'll tell you some things, but don't fucking tell it to us back.
And you know what? After you showed them how to put on the condom and told them not to smoke a joint, you know what the first thing they fucking did was?
Both of those things. Yeah, absolutely. Like, where do I get condoms and joints, please? Okay, well, obviously, like, no, we're not taking this job. So we're going to say fuck this place. No. Moving on to Paranormal Investigator. And this is
they've got a lovely logo.
They have a great logo. There's one image here, and it's like, is this like in the center of the logo is a moon, and in front of the moon is like that Egyptian I figured it out as I was talking.
It's not a jackal. Is it a jackal? What is it?
It's an Egyptian like animal with it looks like a pharaoh, but it's also like a dog, And then it says Paranormal Research Crew, which is along over the top. And
so it's official.
As long as they can make text swirl around something, they've got graphic design skills.
Ed and Lorraine Warren are,
It says Anubis Paranormal Research Organization. That is what the image says. So the text says Anubis Paranormal Research Organization is currently looking for individuals interested in working as a chapter director. So how many chapters do you have? In starting an investigation team in the United Kingdom.
Oh, dude, this sounds like a really good superhero movie right off the bat. I'm way into this.
I did just watch Kingsman the other day, so I'm ready to go. All training will be provided, no expenses from you, only the desire to lead a professional unit. Oh my God! In investigating haunted locations, UFO reports, and cryptid sightings.
What does that mean?
I think that might be like cryptozoology is like Bigfoot or like the Yeti and stuff. Okay. So I think they're in a Loch Ness, that kind of situation. Animals. Each chapter has its own character. That's nice, a little flexibility. But we do ask,
like your own boss in like the video game, one stage. One person, stage boss.
One person has like 2 pistols and one person has like 1 shotgun, Each chapter has its own character, but we do ask that you follow the core philosophies and standards set by ARPO. Oh, that's Anubis Paranormal Research Organization. APRO. I think I said it wrong. APRO is a professional organization with chapters around the US. Oh, I see. We're importing here. Our teams are utilized by the way, is utilized spelled correctly in a UK spelling? Because English, that's wrong.
So we would put that as an S instead of a.
Okay, so they fucked.
And here's a shocker: Z. We say Z. We don't say Z.
Oh yeah, I've watched a couple of Adobe Premiere tutorials by UK and New Zealand guys. So I've heard the Z key. There's no Z in utilized. And it should be an S. They just misspelled it. I thought they were substituting an A where they shouldn't have. Anyway, our teams are utilized to assist those in need from various paranormal activity. I like those people in need. If you have never been involved in paranormal activity or just interested, please contact us. You can also check us out by going to our website for more information. No experience required. All training done by organization. We request only a sound and inquisitive individual apply. If interested, our executive national director will contact you for an interview.
Not the END, surely.
We're in the C-suite here, or the in-suite. Oh, sorry, hon. I got END on the phone. I've got to go.
Yeah.
Who?
I know it's your birthday,
He like jumps out the window.
Yeah.
And then it says thank you, and then there's a website. And by the way, it's very clear that it's Anubis Paranormal, and it's a Wix site. They haven't paid to make it a pro site.
They haven't got a domain name. I love it.
It's Chase McNeil, not chasemcneil.com. It's chasemcneil.wix.com /pro or whatever.
And you know, these people have watched so many conspiracy videos on YouTube to know what GoDaddy is, right? Like, get a domain name, guys, please.
It's $100 a year for WordPress. I'm pretty sure
it's cheap as chips, as we would say.
I like to think like he
especially
watched
on Friday or Saturday.
so many paranormal videos that the guy was like, I got to start a team. Like,
I got to get somebody together. There's too much.
He's missing out on big life moments in his children's life. He's like, I've got to set this up as a business because you know what? These ghosts won't quit. They will not.
He watched Spooky Cemetery videos, and then he watched the first 2 X-Men movies, and he was like, all right, I know what I got to do.
We're going to put this together. I do. How much do you want to bet the executive national director is the person writing this ad? That's what we're guessing here, right?
How much do you want to bet he's wearing a hat made of aluminum foil? This guy sounds, I
also would like to point out that wages were not listed, and then when we get to the compensation box, it says compensation is volunteer, so we aren't even getting paid. And then it's an employment type contract. Like, I'm going to sign a fucking contract to do nothing, to get paid nothing. Although they did spell organization right. They took out the Z and substituted an S. So good. Good. They knew their audience.
I'm absolutely,
everything about this is bizarre.
I'm absolutely not in. Because like from the very practical sense of like whether or not you believe in like ghosts or whatever, typically that kind of stuff happens in places that just aren't safe. It's all abandoned buildings. It's all places you could get hurt. This is volunteer work.
On old construction sites.
I'm not gonna trip over some old railroad tracks and like fucking break my neck and then tell everybody it's because I was hunting Bigfoot. Is how this happened to me.
Well, it's under directive from the executive national director. So
also, Nick, this is in London, which meaning that if you wanted to do this, you would have to relocate for absolutely no compensation.
Yeah, I've got to call Mom.
I've got to go to London. I've got to do it. I've got to go.
I have to track down these ghosts here. No, across the world. No, they don't affect me at all. These ghosts aren't coming at me for any reason, but I got to go to them. You understand?
They don't affect my family, my finances. In fact, they make them worse by me showing up.
Right. And I'm gonna go kick up some shit across the world. So we need me.
Now I honestly, no. I'm not going to do this.
Nah.
I do honestly, they keep rebooting Ghostbusters. Why not do a UK version? I feel like that could be a good time. There's plenty of ghosts.
Yeah.
Plenty of history.
We did have I don't know if it was an American show actually, but Most Haunted. Was that an American show?
Probably.
It sounds like an American show, just the most.
Yeah. So there's some stories where I live. There's stories of the ghost of Bluebell Hill.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And so, but we have such rich history. It's such a long history here. So it's
there's got to be
there's going to be ghosts. There's got to be a lot of ghosts.
Just because most of the ghosts in the U.S. are like from the Revolutionary War or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of '90s ghosts. From what I've been told or heard. So I'm just saying,
we're like a Discman. That would be, that'd be crazy.
We don't have like ghosts that would like they're like into Blink 182 because they just died not that long ago.
They just haven't evolved their taste.
Just young ghosts.
They actually only know albums up to Enema of the State because after that it's 2000.
They don't know. No. No, what is that?
What's my age again? I mean, again, I'm also I think you've already said this, Kieran. It's not that I don't believe in ghosts. It's just that like I believe that some people, just like hypnotism, are like more susceptible to them.
Are you telling me you ain't afraid of no ghosts?
I'm not gonna say I ain't afraid of. I'm definitely afraid of ghosts if they're real. I'm just saying I tend to not see ghosts. I think other people see
Yes.
ghosts. I think some people see ghosts and other people don't. And I got nothing wrong with those who do, but I'm not going to be, even though I can't get paid anything, even if I wanted to help you, I would. I'd just be like, I don't know. It looks like a coffee shop, pal. So I'm out.
I think, again, I'm going to use this word again. I think you have to be
susceptible.
Is that a word? Anyway, I think you have to be, you know, I do believe I saw a ghost. I tell you when I feel when me and my now fiance, we've been together for 9 years, and obviously when I first was going out with her, I would stay in the spare room, you know, as being respectful, very respectful young man I was, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night and I heard Kieran like that, and I thought maybe it was her at the door. She couldn't sleep, she was upset or whatever. And I went, yeah. And I look up, and it was the spare room had the computer suite in it. You know, back when you had huge, chunky computers. Yeah. And the computer chair it was rocking back and forth.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. And so I reached out and I stopped the chair and I turned around and I slept with my nose against the wall.
Yeah.
Well, I say I slept. I didn't sleep, but I laid. So I think that's my only. So I wouldn't do this job. I wouldn't do this job because I don't think I'd be a good fit. If I'm honest with you, because I'm not.
I mean, obviously afraid of the one ghost who was like, again, like a 90s ghost who's just like looking for the latest Smashing Pumpkins CD.
I was going to say, you were like, babe, you're not going to believe it, but I think I need to start sleeping in the bed with you. Because I saw the craziest ghosts. He was going to get me, babe.
He was one of those chair ghosts. So
anyway, scoot over.
Yeah. It was all a ruse. It was all a ruse. Yes. But no.
So yeah, we're going to say, fuck this place. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, did you know that you can text this podcast? The number is 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. We take your side, by the way. That's an automatic position. If you text us, we're on your side.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about your boss. You think I'm going to protect that guy? I hate that guy. I hate that guy. I got your back. We got your back here.
Absolutely. If we're like this is like a weirdo, like sleazy lawyer commercial. I mean, we're on your side to a point, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm wearing a goofy suit right now.
I'm wearing a brown tie. Couldn't tell you why. If you need to talk shit about something, like we're your shit talking team. All you gotta do is text 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. We're on your side.
Kieran, what is the first job you've ever had?
The first job I ever had, from the age of 15, I sang in pubs. I was a pub singer, as we call it here.
That is the most London thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
It's like UK occupation.
Yeah.
He
was like, I was also a cartoon mouse
and a chimney sweep.
Yeah.
And I worked on watches.
I
with my grandfather.
I said, Daddy, I think I can sing. And he went, let's make some money out of this. So he put me in a pub. But yeah, so 15 years old, I'd grown up doing musical theatre and singing, and musical theatre tends to lend itself to sort of jazz and swing music quite a bit. And Michael Bublé had just blown up. He'd had, I think it was the Crazy Love album. The Boobs, right? And he'd had this album out, and so it's usually every pub wanted like a Michael Bublé, what we call tribute act. Is that what you call it there?
Yeah,
where someone like
covers, like a cover band or whatever.
Yeah, like a cover band. So so that was my first job, was doing sort of Michael Bublé, Frank Sinatra, Bobby Darin, who I love, and singing in pubs. So that was my first job.
Well, how regularly are you doing this?
It got to a point by the time I was 17, so about 2 years later, every weekend there was a gig of some sort, whether it was a pub, and then what tends to happen is like people ask for a card and they book you for your wedding. So I then became a wedding singer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And doing that whole thing.
Okay, so talk to me about the setup here, because what I'm imagining is you just sort of walk in and like, hello, blokes, and then you just start singing Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
But my guess is you have like a microphone. Is it like a band, or is it just like a karaoke system?
Like karaoke tracks.
Okay.
But you get to know the I talk about this so rarely. You get to know like the good companies. Like some karaoke tracks sound like absolute dog shit.
Yeah, sure.
And
sure,
so
sure.
I'd be like, if it's Zoom karaoke, if it's Boggle karaoke, it's high quality. So
okay.
yeah, I'd start old. I'd start with some
classic,
some classic. As I say, also it's very, very much centered around Michael Bublé and anything that would then sort of come in. I can sound a little bit like Michael Bublé.
Okay.
I used to put on the voice a little bit. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, I mean, give it a go.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think I can mention that story without doing it. So this is Michael Bublé impression.
Okay, ready.
You're a fallen star. You're the getaway car. You're the line in the sand. When I go too far. There you go.
Oh, wow.
And a very...
We should have just booked you as Michael Bublé. Said we had Michael Bublé on the show.
The ratings would have... Or maybe...
And he wants to be a paranormal investigator for some reason.
And he's going to do a cover of Blink-182 songs.
Okay. How did you get into it? Like, I mean, obviously... I guess pubs just have pub singers. And so you're like, maybe you're a kid and you're like, oh, it'd be cool if I could do that. And you're already doing musical theater. So you just figured maybe you give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was, so I loved singing and I loved performing. And what it was my 15th birthday. My present was this very, very, it wasn't expensive or anything like that, but a PA system.
Okay.
So 2 speakers and a microphone and a little sound desk.
Yeah.
Because I'd said I want to start, sort of, and before that, because I grew up being known as the singer and being known as a performer, I'd do the odd little sing at someone's wedding or sing while my aunt's going down the aisle.
Cousin Kieran's gonna sing for you.
Cousin Kieran's gonna sing. Let's all give him a round of applause. And then I happen to be, half decent. So it was all, and then it was always like, oh, can I borrow this PA system? Can I borrow this microphone? So it was like, do you know what? I need my own thing. So got that, and then I figured out how to sort of record with the stuff as well. So I created back in the day of CDs. Imagine that. I created a little sort of 5-track CD, and I put in a sleeve with a business card and a track list and who I was, and my dad would drive me around all the pubs in South London, and I'd literally just walk in, excuse me, sir, would you like a singer? And hand the CD over. And my first gig was the first person to ring me and call me was a pub called the Anglesey Arms in Bromley, which is in sort of southeast London.
Anglesey Arms.
Anglesey Arms.
CEA is in like the ocean?
No, Anglesey. So that would be Anglesey, I think.
Oh, Anglesey. It's just one word.
Yeah, it's just one word. I don't know what Anglesey is. It comes up quite a lot as you sort of in London, so I don't know. There's quite a few, because pubs sort of will share names. There's a million King's Heads and there's a million Fox and Hounds. I mean, there's Fox and Hounds in Studio City as well. So it's so Anglesey Arms.
I think it's an island in Wales. I'm Googling Anglesey right now.
There you go. That does make sense to me, yeah. So the Anglesey Arms. So that was my first ever gig.
How did it go, the first gig?
It was great. It was before I figured out the Michael Bublé thing.
Sure.
So I'd borrowed a sort of a keyboard, like a piano, and I had a guitar as well. So I did a little bit with some tracks. I did a little bit on the piano and did a little bit with the guitar. And what was probably the most interesting story of the night was I was sitting there playing piano and singing a bit of Van Morrison. I think it was like Brown Eyed Girl or something like that.
Oh, awesome.
Sitting there playing. Yeah. And so people were sort of tapping their foot and sort of getting into it. And as you get into the how's the sing-along part of that song go? What is it? La 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 da da. Oh yeah. Yeah. So as we get into that, then a couple of people get up and they're dancing. And I'm sitting there 15 going, oh my God, like this is a great night. And then 2 females, they're sort of dancing quite close and they're having fun. And then they start really making out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, hold on a second. So they go from dancing to immediately making out?
To immediately making out and hands all over each other. Well,
London's awesome.
Right? Well, hold that a sec, because because the landlady of the pub kicked them out, and that was a bit right. 21st century, all that. So after the gig, she said, "Well done, Kieran. I'm so sorry about that." And I said, "No, that's fine." I said, "But you shouldn't have kicked them out. That's not." And she went, "No." She went, "That's nothing a mother and daughter should be doing."
Oh man!
Wow! Real turn there. Real turn.
Yeah.
So is London so awesome, or is it just incestuous?
Yeah. Another wild night at like the Angling, Sainsbury, Chippers and Bots. I don't know a lot of the words you've been saying.
Oh, tonight I'm going to the fuck your kid arms.
Yeah. That's weird that the bar owner knew that they were like regularly coming in and making out.
Just make it not tonight, ladies. Get out.
We got kids in here this time, and not just the one who's getting made out with.
Yeah,
man.
So that was my first gig. That was my first exposure to doing this stuff. Yeah.
Was your dad with you for the whole show every time, or did he ever just drop you off, or like, did he ever get wasted while he was in there with you?
No,
he wasn't there with you. I thought he just dropped you off to drop the cards off.
No. So my dad would stick around. My dad is
that's nice.
My dad has always been very incredibly supportive, and he
That's great.
So he would come.
He
to
also
the gig.
loved drinking, as my guy. Might as well. Like, it's not like you have to go watch a kid's soccer game, or football game, where it's just like, oh shit, I got to be in this cold ass field for 2 hours. I do hang out in a pub. While my son's
hands out in a pub.
It's not the worst thing.
The only time that made me laugh was he dropped me off at this. For some reason, my mum was there as well, so my mum wouldn't often come. She'd come to a couple of gigs. But if it was just a regular, whatever, she'd sort of stay home. My dad, bless him, would drive me. And then there was this one time where I don't know why, but it happened to be both of them dropped me off, and they were going to go off and do something and pick me up. And so I went into this pub, and that pub was called the Jolly Farmer or something like that.
Yeah,
genuinely.
Good. Yeah, no, I believe it.
And what
we're pulling we're pulling like a bingo for names of pubs. But
yeah. And this is after, so you used to be able to obviously smoke in pubs.
Yeah.
And this was after the smoking ban, and that could, a lot of people, a lot of pubs sort of really went out of business after, because people were, well, I can't smoke, I'm not going to come for a drink.
Yeah.
So I went in, and everyone was smoking in there. So I'm trying to sing. I think I was about 16, and I was like, this is so weird. We used to have a show here called Stars in Their Eyes, where people would dress up as a celebrity and come on and sing a song. Say it was like,
oh, cool.
And the host was called Matthew. And what they say, they go, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Rod Stewart. And then this smoke would happen. Obviously, it was a cut, but the way they filmed it made it seem like this person magically transformed into Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
But so this smoke so that's what it felt like. It felt like stars in their eyes, that the smoke was just everywhere. And so I did my first set. I was doing 3 sets, did my first set, and I called my parents and I go, it's nuts, they're smoking in here. Mum's going, no, that's awful. Oh my God. Halfway through my second set, I look over at the bar and I see my parents like that at the bar. As soon as I heard it, my mum went, you got to turn around, they're smoking in the pub. Like the good old days, Sean. Yeah. So yeah, that was it was interesting. I definitely enjoyed the pubs more than the weddings. The weddings used to really give me some anxiety, because you're like 16, and I used to do a bit of DJing as well.
Right. It's someone's special day or whatever, instead of someone's random night out where she's like, oh, this is nice. It's a nice add-on at a pub, whereas like, you better fucking sing my fucking songs.
Yeah. And I'd have to sing the, occasionally I'd sing the bride down the aisle. And occasionally, and I do the first dance as well. That's such a huge part of the, so there was,
really nail that.
Yeah, and so the weddings used to sort of cause. Thanks to my hypnotherapist, turned out that's why I get this sort of like, that's my panic with performing, and that is it comes from singing at weddings and just being such a big part of someone's the most special day in their life.
The only chance you
get, and it's all on you. Yeah,
like if you're in a live production of a play or a musical or whatever, like you get it wrong and you're probably the only person who like actually knows, or you got another show to do it again, right? Whereas this is like, this is the time to sing.
This is it. Yeah.
Whatever.
And
Blackbird or something.
Yeah, exactly. So that was doing weddings.
End of the world REM. Yeah.
First dance.
Yeah. Coming down the aisle to Bare Naked Ladies 1 week.
I did go to a wedding once, and I didn't have to sing the first dance, but their first dance was "Fuck Me Gently" by Tenacious D.
Nice.
Very nice. Very cool.
Yeah. That was their first time. There were
Feel a little less
children
pressure
about.
That.
Some of the guests were so horrified. They were like, "Why are we friends with these people? We should have known."
And then they took those kids to a pub, and they're like, "Oh, man, the kids are making out with their moms in here. We gotta go.
Why do we live here? Let's move to Denmark, please."
Wow. Okay. All right. And then eventually you just sort of transitioned to weddings. You just you stuck with that more because it paid more.
Oh yeah. So what you would charge for a pub, you might charge £150.
Yeah, for 3 sets.
For about two and a half hours of music, and then but for the same set for a wedding, you charge like $500. You charge like 500 quid because it's weddings, Yeah. And there was, I went from that to then going to university, and I stopped doing it when I was at university.
Yeah, because you didn't
because the traveling was
that too.
Yeah. And I was, as you know, it's college, so I was drunk all the time. But it was, I remember this one day being like 16 years old, and I'd agreed to do a wedding in the day, so sing while they're sitting down having their food, and then went and did a birthday party in the evening. And 16 years old, coming home with like $1,000 in cash.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Being like, I want to do this forever.
Yeah.
I'm earning money.
Yeah.
So when I then had no money, it was a really big contrast.
Yeah. It feels
But
like
so it was fun.
It feels like it comes from nothing, especially when it comes from singing. Obviously you practice singing, but it's just I just sang and they gave me money. Awesome.
Yeah, that's it. And all my friends had like paper rounds, and they worked in. They had those general 16, 15-year-old jobs that you had.
Hourly wages and shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, I get to hang out in a pub and get.
And people think you're
money.
awesome too. People who don't. They never say anything. Who cares?
No, exactly. So that was that was the great part of it, was the money.
And I know we need to move on to the next thing, but I do want to were people? I was just saying that people were probably awesome. Did you ever run into some stinkers? Did people heckle you or anything? I mean. You're a very vulnerable position there.
You'd get, a lot of being 15, 16 and surrounded by so many drunk adults.
Yeah.
There was one time where I was like the end of the set and I was finishing the night and everyone had a great night. And this guy just came up and snatched the microphone out of my hand and started to rap.
Okay.
I was singing Frank Sinatra's My Way. And that doesn't really...
That doesn't work. Yeah.
Then he showed up, started singing Limp Bizkit's My Way.
Yeah.
My way or the highway. Yeah.
But that was So a lot of, and then the other thing was middle-aged women. Once they've got a drink in them, they can get pretty handsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could really start making out with their daughters. Let me tell you.
Yes. Yeah. So I'd get booked for like a birthday party.
Yeah.
And this husband has paid like £300-400 for me to be there.
Yeah.
To essentially sing, but also just get groped by his wife.
Yeah.
And you just see him at the bar, just absolutely fuming, just like, oh shit. So that was fun.
Yeah, but you sound like Michael Bublé,
Yeah, I sound like Michael Bublé.
Yeah, what you can do. So. Okay, Kieran, that was your first kind of couple of jobs, we'll say. What would you say is the worst job you've ever had?
There was 1 week, and it was, I say it was worse because it was just like, why the fuck am I doing this?
Yeah.
Selling bottles of water to tourists on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh,
that was,
man.
You know, in the Chinese theater.
Oh, yeah.
That store, and my friend had come, I was at that drama, I was at, an acting school with my friend, and he said, I'm going to get you a job here. It's all cash. He was like, I made like $600 in one night just to stand on Hollywood Boulevard with a sign. I'm like, get me that job.
Yeah.
It was just folding T-shirts and selling bottles of water. It was so that was probably just because it was the most boring. Fucking thing.
Fucking awful. Like for those who've never been on Hollywood Boulevard specifically, I think the best thing to do is to picture kind of like the hustle and bustle of Times Square, mixed with the most disappointment you can muster. Because that's what Hollywood is full of. There's just people who thought they were coming to this really neat cultural thing. And for the most part, shoved onto a very narrow sidewalk and are just
and
like
into a Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
they're running
ill-fitting.
into like fucking like bootleg characters, and they're just trying to get past like the Planet Hollywood. Like where there's nowhere that Planet Hollywoods they existed in the 90s. You know, like they had a spread, and then they went just right back to Hollywood only.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, and they're like the Godiva store. You know, that's all there is. And so and then you get interrupted by people like Kieran who just have like a bottle of water and a T-shirt that just says like Hollywood fucks or whatever.
And so I would say that was just the most. It was about 2 weeks I did it for, and I did it cash in hand as well. So my dad was a little bit like, right, this isn't. It's technically not legal. I wasn't necessarily on a work visa. Right? Can I say that on here? Fuck, I'm here.
Yeah, no. Well, we're familiar. I mean, I'm familiar. Like, you know, if you have a lot of people who have visas that make it into the U.S. sometimes they can't work because they don't have a work visa, so you either have to like have this enormous pile of cash, which nobody fucking has, right? Yeah, or get cash in some other way.
That's it. But also there's ways around it. So if you're on, say you're on a visa that's specifically for being an actor, you know, right, which let's be honest, is Hollywood. That's half the visas, you know. Yeah. There's ways around it. So you could work in like a movie theater. Because it's something to do with the industry. Right? You could be a host at a restaurant, but you couldn't be a waiter, or you can be a server. Okay. But you can be a host because that's greeting people and that's a performance. And that's that's yeah. So the second job I had after that was I worked at the El Capitan.
So you're just on that same street.
On that same street. On that street. I lived there as well. Did I tell you that?
Get off Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
You lived in a refrigerator box.
I lived outside Jimmy Kimmel. So that was my
pushing past like Hispanic Joker or whatever, and then found your job at El Capitan.
Okay, so the dude pitches to you this water bottle thing, and then are you do it with him or you do it alone? Like, does he just like drop you off, you know, like in his Toyota Camry or something?
No, so you're in the like the stall. You're in so it's in one of those sort of t-shirt shops. When you're that side where you're looking at the Chinese theater, but you're on the you know, with all the handprints and stuff like that. There's then two stalls behind you, and one of them sells drinks and sells sort of snacks and stuff.
Just shit for people who are on their feet and don't know what
it's mainly $5 for a bottle of water. And that's all you sold, because it's just so that's where it was.
Question:
the guy was weird as well, I thought.
The guy who told you about it, or the guy who was there?
Yeah. I hope I'm not exposing anyone, but his name was Wayne, and
fucking
Wayne, and so he had two sons who worked there as well, and apparently he had something like 4 or 5, you know, of those touristy t-shirt fucking businesses. Shit shops, businesses, and and apparently he had like 5, and apparently the money every day, the money he made, you know, or the businesses made, not him personally. Yeah, but apparently he just had so much money, but he never left. He never stopped working. Yeah, and one of his sons said that he would come home and he'd only ever be home for about 5 hours, and he would just sleep on the kitchen floor.
Oh my fucking!
But he was making all this money. What kind of a life is that?
The life of Wayne.
The life of Wayne, dude.
The life of Wayne.
The sordid life of Wayne. You know.
Yeah.
Wayne's World. It's you know.
Was he like? I mean, part of me thinks like he's just trying to save up for something. Like, I mean, you know, people who are immigrants or something. Like, you know, like they've got money to send home or something. That could be a situation.
No, he was very much, you know, like however many generations America.
He's saving up for a couch, maybe.
Yeah.
Or a bigger kitchen, you know, with real soft floors. Hey, how soft is the floor in this kitchen? We can take you to the bedroom. I don't think so. Talk to me about the kitchen.
Wayne, you've got all this money. Buy a bed. Or a mattress at least.
Or some pine bedding. Just get some chips down there.
Yeah, just sleep on a pile of your weak ass shirts from the store.
Yeah, but I heard that I met him twice. I'd heard that story about him sleeping on the floor from my friend Jack. Jack's interestingly, he's a ventriloquist. So he's working the comedy. Jack Williams. He still works the sort of the circuit out there.
Like, he told me his dummy backed him up, verified the story.
You tell me that's true. Hell yeah, that's true. All right, $600 a day. He said it.
Right on the floor. Right on the floor.
You heard Riley. Yeah.
But yeah.
So when you see
weird
Wayne, is that like the first thing you think is this guy sleeps on the kitchen floor? Or did you learn that later?
No, he told me that before I took the job, and I still took the job. I'm like, yeah, I'll work for this guy. But it was because Jack was saying how much money he was making because he got a commission. So the whole time he was out on the street with the sign,
got it.
He made a percentage of what the store took.
Got it.
Okay.
And, so, and it was all in cash.
Yeah.
And so he, I feel like I'm exposing this.
No, this
tomorrow.
Is so common in every like heavy foot. Like this is common in Hollywood, Times Square, Estes Park, Colorado, Myrtle Beach. Like just everywhere. There's a lot of people walking around. This is a thing.
Yeah. I just for Wayne's sake, I hope you don't have a market of just like IRS,
Yeah, we have auditors that
and they're like, we love this podcast. Wait, what did he say?
By the way, if you're an auditor who listens to the show, you should text the podcast.
Yeah,
the numbers in the bumper. I would love to hear what you have to say, just in general.
And I'd love to hear what you have to say about Wayne. Go ahead, right in.
But yeah, that seems extremely low likelihood, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was weird. That was a weird job. It was only 2 weeks.
Yeah. So wait, you were inside the shop, or you were also outside with the sign?
No, I was inside. So I wanted the job with the sign because of how much.
So
I did it for 2 weeks, and I didn't get that much money. It was like, I think it worked out. It was like $6, $7 or something an hour. So I didn't get. Yeah, it was awful. It was maybe it was 10. Either way, it wasn't.
It's still not enough.
It was not $600.
It was not what was advertised.
Right.
So wait, was your buddy out there with the sign, and he was like, "Hey, Kieran, come on out here. It'll be cool." And you're like, "I can't. You're the guy who's this guy the fucking sign.
Yeah.
You're
if
taking
I want to
my
earn
job."
Yeah, I'd be like, Jack, I've got to murder you because that's how it works. And I've got to, a bit like the Tim Allen film, The Santa Claus. I have to kill you, and then I have to do your job.
You start turning into your friend. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So.
And then he turns into the dummy, and then now.
Yes.
Shit, dude.
Then I get to shove my hand up his ass for once.
Yeah.
So
verify your weird stories. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and then all you guys are just sleeping on the kitchen floor with Wayne.
That's it.
And that's how you get stuck with him.
The Hollywood, the American dream,
So like, I mean, I can imagine even if you had the $600 a day job, you'd be like, I don't want to fucking do this after 2 weeks, like, but like you didn't even have the money. So you're just like, well, so did you, when you started, you're like, he probably showed you the register and you're like, this is where you're going to be. And you're like, I
want to do that job. Oh no, we got someone doing that job. Okay. So when can I do that job? It was folding T-shirts and selling bottles of water.
Yeah, were
not
people
what was
mad?
advertised.
Were people mad that it was a $5 bottle of water?
There would be.
Sad resignation is what it sounds like to me.
Yes, obviously, but obviously, who you're trapping is tourists.
Yes,
so I guess
course.
they will.
Right.
So I'd meet a lot of English people, and I'd feel awful.
You're
selling
like,
them because I wanted to be like,
you like hide your accent.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, howdy, y'all. Do you want water?
Nah, I'm Australian, mate. Well, you don't sound Australian. But yeah, so I'd feel awful, but at the same time, got to chase that Yankee dollar.
Also, they got the cash to fly to the U.S. and loaf around Hollywood, so they can probably pay $5.
I think it's just like bummer circumstances. It's like the same thing. You go to like a concert or like a basketball game. You're just like, $10 a beer or whatever. It sucks, but they just
they're just like that. And it would be so interesting. Like I'd get talking, and if they were English, obviously, then I had like a thing to talk about, and then I might say, "Oh, if you're here for 2 weeks, I've got a comedy show here or something," and that was fun. And so I'd meet, and so what was so fun was like bumping into people who might be like from 15 minutes from my hometown. And they'd be like, "Oh, but how did you end up here?" And I'm like, "You tell me, because
I'm trying to get out of here.
Where I wanted to be."
How did I end up here? I don't know, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
How did you? Are you leaving? Can you take me with you?
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I'll throw in a bottle of water for $5 right now.
Yeah,
special price just for you, $5 whole American.
Can you tell my mum to come get me, please? But yeah. So.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Did you meet anybody else there? Or you pretty much just stuck to it. I mean, it's just like,
no, you worked on your own.
Yeah, and that guy was just too busy sleeping on the floor.
Right. There was the store behind. The store behind was the one that sold the T-shirts and all that sort of stuff. But I never met anyone there. I would literally show up, take over from the person before, and
just all by yourself.
Go,
that's the business model. That's how the person.
I think that was. Yeah, and I think that was it as well. I was like, this is not enough money to just be stood here on my own, ripping people off. You know, it's
there's no one even like sort of supervising, forcing you to do it in a sense. Like,
the first day. I mean, I'm someone who needs to be told what to do, and I also need someone there to hold my hand, especially if it's like a new job or something. So to turn up the first day and just be like, so here's the register, off you go. And I'd never worked in a customer service kind of situation.
Yeah.
And so the first day I was just like, oh my God, like, so that was just what was a bit shitty about it. I was just like, there's no sort of train. I mean, what would the training be? You know,
I mean, the training could be like 2 hours, you know, instead of an immediate handoff.
Yeah. How to deal with a 6-foot Harley Quinn that won't stop talking to you.
Well, the other thing is that your change is so different there. So your dime and your...
Was it cash only?
So it's cash. It wasn't necessarily cash only, but when people would pay in cash. So here we have a 1p, a 2p, a 5p, a 10p, a 20p, a 50p, and then a pound coin, and a £2 coin as well. There you've got a quarter, your 25 cents.
Yeah,
you've got the 10 and the 5.
Yeah,
hell yeah, I'm checking this out.
And so trying to work out the change.
Math. If it's same. And if it's any consolation, as an American, I once applied to a Subway sandwich shop and they had like you to do like math on the thing. And I just said, I'm not going to apply to Subway. Like I just threw away the application. I was like, I'll work anywhere else. It doesn't matter.
Well, I used to, I grew up as the theatre kid. And so in maths, they used to let me fall asleep because they looked at me and they knew I was awful at it. And they were like, this guy's never going to do anything to do with
this guy's never going to end up in a t-shirt combo water bottle shop on Hollywood Boulevard and have to make American change.
One thing I definitely know about him.
This guy is either going to be on the stage or he's going to end up doing porn, and he doesn't need maths for either of those.
Yeah.
I don't know why the teacher would suggest you. Imagine sitting down with a guidance counselor. It's like, so have you considered porn? That would be kind of inappropriate. But yeah. So that was tough. Doing the maths was like, I'm
okay. So then what made you stick it out for 2 weeks? I mean, what, like you just wanted to leave on a good note, or you put in 2 weeks notice?
I wanted that sign, baby. I wanted to be out on that. Right. That's where I was working towards, and I spoke to my dad about it, and he was just like, look, I don't feel. He was like, look, if you get found out, you're doing this job under the table.
It's not a great setup, regardless.
No, exactly. Do you know what I mean? It was my first year that I was out there. I was at drama school, and I was like, so I ended up getting a job as the I would help build the sets for the plays on campus. So there would always be plays going on because it was an acting school. So that was my next job was before the El Capitan was painting and building sets.
When that's a legitimate situation.
Yeah, and I did it, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, a lot more enjoyable than swindling, idiots, really.
Yeah, exactly.
For none of your gain, really.
No, just less than minimum wage, and just ripping people off was not my intention when I moved out to the US. So.
But it is what happens in the US, so
it is
a real education, I guess, on what really goes on. I wouldn't say behind the scenes. I would just say right in front of people's faces all the time. Like you got healthcare needs? Well, fuck you, first of all, and pony up. Okay. Well, Kieran, we always ask like 3 questions to make sure we kind of like round it out. Kind of covered most things. So question number 1 is, for that job, when were you done and how did you quit? That you decided to move, but like when was it the conversation with your dad that was like, this is my decision for sure, I gotta get out of here? And then after that conversation, how, like, did you like just not show up the next day, or?
A text. Yeah. I sent the text. I said, hey, wait, I'm not going to be there anymore. And he said, okay, cool.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. Like,
Wayne doesn't fucking give a shit.
Yeah, no.
He's just counting that. He's
dead or
just
alive.
Counting that money.
Yeah. So
I think that's what. Maybe he was trying to.
Let's say his phone started rattling on the kitchen floor. reached over and grabbed it. Like, oh yeah.
Who
lost another one.
So that was it. It was a text. I literally went, "Oh, I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah, and then you were
he was like,
free.
"Okay." Yeah.
Okay. Question number 2. What's one good thing you would say you took from that bad job?
One good thing is, growing up in a little, I'm not that far from London. There's more remote places than where I grew up.
Right.
But to be we all know that Hollywood Boulevard is just a fucking shit show. Right?
Yes.
Right.
And it is the middle of something.
Yeah, but also just to stand there and look at the Chinese theatre and it's a shit show, but it's a shit show filled with history.
Yeah, it has a vibe. Yeah,
it does have a vibe, and you see it in movie Rush Hour, and you see it in all these amazing movies. So I think that the best thing was to know that I was just in a place that not many people. Where I'm from, could ever say, "Oh, I used to work outside the Chinese theatre and sold bottles of water to tourists," and have that story. So that was the best part of it. Yeah.
I think that you're right that like there's a good combo experience of sort of like you see the sheen and you see the gum and you're just like, yeah, sheen and gum, no big deal.
Yeah,
but I saw them all instead of I just saw sort of like what someone else wanted me to see of that, which is like the one shot in Rush Hour or in Iron Man or, like whatever, whatever thing they have going on. Yeah. Yeah. You were there.
Yeah. I was
among the Spider-Mans and the Wolverines and and the Supermans or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 3, not really related to that job, is, we have and continue to have a pandemic.
What's that?
But I couldn't tell you. And like how you doing in general, and any like sort of new, I think for some people the pandemic has been like because people were kind of forced to step back. Some people had some kind of like new like thoughts on their lives or whatever. Like, so any of those reflections are welcome.
So I know I said it at the start, and I don't know if you'll include that sort of when we're just having a chat at the start. But I took a job as a music teacher in like a high school. And so when I first moved back from the US, I was I was expecting to be back at the time that I was, and it took me. That's what I did go. That's when I went to see the hypnotherapist just to sort of get out this weird funk.
Yeah.
And so this job came up. And I was like, I'll teach. I was waiting for my fiance to finish. She's a teacher as well. So I was waiting for her to finish her year at school, the academic year. And then we were going to move to London. That was the big plan, to move to London. So I thought this job was going to be 3 months.
Interim
they literally,
thing,
they were like, we need someone now.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm available now, but I'm not going to be available in the summer. I'm moving.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's fine. We just need someone now. We need someone now. So
this is like what? Like this is January of 2020.
This is the February.
Oh, the February. Shit. The February, as we say.
Yeah, the February. And do you know what's so weird is that? So I did 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then we had what's called that's as far as my jobs last. But I did 2 weeks, and then we had what we call half term. So that's when the kids go on a break just for a week. And during that half term, I went to New York, and my friend was in a play. My friend Max. And we were on the subway, and I remember saying to him, I went, wouldn't it be nuts if that thing in China came here? Because we were looking at the amount of people on the subway.
Of course, you're like, we're fucked.
And he was like, my friend Max, he's the poshest person you'll ever meet. He's related to related to royalty. So his surname is Fitzroy Stone, and Fitzroy means bastard of the king. So he is a descendant. So he's a descendant of Charles I, who apparently fucked everything, everything that moved. And so he was like, no, it'll never come here. It's all the way over in China. And then little did we know. So that ended up being a job that I thought would last about 4 months till the end of the academic year, and ended up lasting a year and a half.
Yeah.
Through on all the Zoom lessons, had to learn how to do that. And also it was like, I had a couple of weeks in the classroom, and then it was like, oh, now it's a completely different ballgame. So it's not even like, even the teachers who I would go to for advice have never been in this situation before.
Correct.
So do you know what it taught me? Because you have to plan the lessons. You have to really it taught me, I'm thankful that it taught me how to be organized.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like when you're a comedian, when you're a writer, when you're an actor, there is a level of selfishness that has to come with that, because you have to constantly go, I know I said I'd do that, but I've just been offered this gig and I'm going to do that gig, you know, or look, I know I said I'd go out with you and your friends, but I'm just trying to get this scene finished. I need to get... What it taught me was to put others and children, really, these amazing, amazing kids who I got to know, put these children before the interest of myself. Sure. And so I will always be, so I still teach now. So whilst I write and, you know, I still do comedy now, my job now is I teach students acting and singing. And so I've managed to bring that sort of that high school part, you know, teaching part of it to this part-time job. And just supporting these kids, because it's the one thing that they don't focus on in these sort of performing arts school is the mental health side of it. Yeah, definitely. So, it's like crazy how little they talk about it. Yeah, you know, and they focus on competition as well. Like you are in competition with everyone in this room. No, you're fucking not. Yeah, because you're not. No, you're not the same type. You're telling me that I, you know, weighing 250 pounds and going up for the same parts as this guy who's essentially, you know, Chris Hemsworth. We're not in competition with each other at all. Yeah, exactly. And so that's a big part of my lessons that I do there is I say to them, do not compare yourself to anyone else. You compare yourself to yourself yesterday. If you've got a goal, whether it's career-wise or personal, you know, for if you want to drink more water, if you think you need to drink more water, did you drink more water today than you did yesterday? Yes, then you're doing it. You are improving. Right. So that's my big, I get a little bit hippie with it. I love it. No, I think it's a huge lesson missing from like the world. Yeah. And I would even go so far as to say that I started talking about this stuff when I was working at the high school, and it was Mental Health Awareness Week, and the school wasn't really doing that much for it. So I had these little handouts, and they were sort of little shapes, and it said, it was I am, it was like I have, I am, I can, or something like that. Yeah. And I said, even if you want to put down, I am a boy. It was an all boys school. You've got to write something down. And there were some kids that I have. I said, well, first of all, I said, you have friends. Just put, I have a family that cares about me. And if you feel you don't have that, then I tell you what you put down. I was a form tutor, meaning like homeroom. Yeah. I think you called it homeroom there. I said, I have a form tutor and I have teachers that care about me. If you can't think of anything, that's your first thing you write down. Yeah. And there were still some kids who could not think of anything to write down. Yeah. I can, I have, I am. And then the other question I asked was, who can tell me one thing they like about themselves? Oh, yeah. And a couple of hands went up. And I asked, I said, right now, who can tell me one thing they don't like about themselves? And everyone's hand went up. You know, and so I think it's so important. I know this is a comedy podcast. No, this is where we start rounding it out to the real stuff. Yeah, exactly. And I just think that is, you know, teaching at that school, being in a situation that none of us ever thought we'd be in. You know, I thought by that point I was going to be doing this and writing this and you know, having that, living in London. I mean, I was still living with. At the time, I was living with my my future in-laws. I'm getting married next year. Yeah. So just being like 26 and being like, oh my God, what is my life? But knowing everyone else is in the same position, in the same boat. Right. Well, and the other thing that's like so hard to even triple down on is like, and even if they weren't in the same position, like you're still in your deal. It's like, it doesn't you're still on Hollywood Boulevard selling water bottles. You either gotta get out of it, or you gotta embrace it and change something else. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter. Exactly. The ultimate context, which is like a lesson I try to drill into my brain all the goddamn time. And it's hard. It's hard to do that because we're so good at telling ourselves terrible things about ourselves, and we're not so good about telling ourselves good things about ourselves. But it is possible, and that's what I've been teaching. That's what a big thing that I make sure I cover in my lessons, whatever it is I'm teaching, whether it's singing, acting, or whether it was when I was working in a high school, is just this idea of sounds cheesy, but you are enough, and just being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my big thing. I love doing that job.
Yeah, sounds like quite the arc.
Yeah.
Well, Kieran, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you on the internet if you'd like to be found?
So I am just at Kieran Mellish, and I'm just getting back into live comedy. I've been writing, but just getting back into live comedy. So I do, if anyone is listening and they're in the London area, I do run a weekly show at a bar called the Hamlet, and the club is called Great Dane Comedy Club. No one gets it. Great Dane, Prince of Denmark, Hamlet.
No, I didn't get it, but I got it now.
Oh.
So I thought I was being so clever and smart. I'm going to call it Great Dane Comedy Club.
Yeah, although I would guess that the audience that's going to get that's probably not looking for a stand-up comedy. They're looking for a Shakespeare review.
No, not at all. They turn up so pissed. They turn up. I was threatened on Wednesday, the last show I did. The couple talking in the front row, whispering to each other.
Yeah.
They were asked to stop, not by me, but by the comedian. Well, they were so upset, and so they were going to kick off with this comedian. I said, absolutely not. She was a female comedian. Said, I need to go down there and I need to speak to that girl and I need to tell her. I said, you're not doing any of that fucking shit. I said, you're going to sit, so you're going to stay where you are. You're going to finish your drink and then you're going to fuck off. And he did. He threatened to throw me down this flight of stairs I was stood on. But so it can get a bit hairy.
Time. It's a good time.
Yeah, but that's every Wednesday at the Hamlet in Streatham, and that's southwest London. And then at Kieran Mellish, I'm just on Instagram, put things on Facebook, and I'm about.
And we'll put links to everywhere that Kieran is about. In the show notes. Kieran, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you guys. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, man.
And
cheers. Thank you.
Fuck this place. Rate the podcast, leave a review, 5 stars, 4 stars. You can give less stars, but don't do that. I mean, you can, but just text us. It's 470-223-5627. That's 470-223-5627. You can just let it out, Get mean. We're here for you. Okay, that's it. Bye for now.